the endless black canvas of space, decorated with billions of twinkling stars, a huge spaceship glides majestically. Its hull reflects the light of the distant stars, creating the illusion of a living creature sailing through the vastness of the universe. Inside the ship, in a spacious control room filled with complex equipment and flickering screens, an alarm system goes off. A computer towering above the control panels begins to issue an emergency message. On one of the screens appears an image of the planet Zardosh, surrounded by clouds of smoke and destruction. The hulks of destroyed cities, scorched earth, and signs of a brutal war are visible. On another screen, a desperate video message of exhausted, terrified inhabitants hiding in the ruins, pleading for help. Their faces are contorted with grief and fear. The message broadcasts a call for rescue. The inhabitants of Zardosh have been attacked by ruthless alien invaders led by the cruel and treacherous Sardar. The invaders destroy everything in their path, turning the once prosperous planet into a lifeless wasteland. The inhabitants' last hope is for outside help. Elsewhere on the ship, in his private quarters, Captain Xander reviews the message he has received. Xander is a brave but somewhat arrogant captain, eager for exploits and recognition. He sees this situation as an opportunity to prove himself a hero and decides to go immediately to the aid of the Zardosh. Xander assembles his crew. In the spacious hangar of the ship, filled with various equipment and vehicles, he addresses his future allies. The first to approach him is Kwame, an experienced and feisty pilotess. Her confident gait and determined gaze indicate her readiness for any challenge. She inspects one of the fighters, assessing its condition. Then Taft appears, a huge and silent warrior with an impenetrable expression. His muscular body and massive sword inspire awe. He slowly walks along the racks of weapons, selecting the most suitable for the upcoming battle. San Jose, an aging cowboy with a laser revolver on his hip and a cigar in his mouth, joins the group next. He leisurely approaches Xander, surveying the hangar with a cynical eye. Experience and equanimity are evident in his every move. Nancy, a young and naive girl who dreams of exploits and glory, is also asked to join the team. She timidly approaches Xander, asking him to take her along despite her lack of combat experience. She has a spark of hope in her eyes and a desire for heroic deeds. Last to join the team is Arnold, a former actor, master of disguise and transformation. He approaches Xander in a theatrical pose, hoping that this mission will be his finest hour and allow him to realize his acting talent. The Nemesis ship prepares to depart. Inside there is an atmosphere of tension and concentration. Mechanics are checking engines and weapon systems. Kwame takes the pilot's seat, adjusting the controls. Teft is sharpening his sword, preparing for close combat. San Jose checks his revolver, assessing the charge level. Nancy anxiously examines her weapon, trying to figure out its construction. Arnold examines his reflection in the mirror, preparing props for future reincarnations. Xander gives his final orders and takes the captain's chair. The Nemesis leaves the hangar and embarks on the long and dangerous journey to the planet Zardosh. The ship flies through the asteroid field, skillfully maneuvering between huge blocks of rock. Kwame skillfully steers the ship, avoiding collisions. The crew prepares for possible enemy attacks. Upon arriving on Zardosh, the Nemesis team sees a horrifying picture of destruction. Cities lie in ruins, the land is scorched to the ground, and the atmosphere is saturated with smoke and cinders. Traces of the brutal battles and atrocities committed by the invaders can be seen. Xander decides to land on the planet and search for survivors. The team lands on the surface of Zardosh and begins to make their way towards the nearest destroyed city. They see dead bodies, scattered debris of buildings, and signs of widespread destruction everywhere. They soon come across a small group of survivors hiding in the ruins of a temple. An elder of the survivors tells Xander and his team of the atrocities of Sardar and his army. He describes the brutality of the invaders, their inhumane methods, and their desire for the total destruction of the planet. He pleads with Xander and his crew to save them from imminent doom. Xander, touched by the grief and despair of the Zardoshi, agrees to help. He promises to free their planet from the invaders. Xander devises a plan to attack Sardar's fortress, located in the center of the planet. He assembles a team and explains to them the details of the upcoming operation. Each member of the team is given a different task and prepares to carry it out. Team Nemesis embarks on a dangerous journey through hostile territory. While advancing towards the fortress, the team is ambushed. A squad of Sardar soldiers ambushes them with a barrage of laser weapons fire. A fierce firefight ensues. Kwame, driving his speeder, deftly maneuvers between the enemies, destroying them with accurate shots from laser cannons. Teft, with a fierce shout, rushes into battle with his sword, crushing enemies in his path. San Jose cold-bloodedly and skillfully shoots enemies with his laser revolver, covering his comrades. Nancy, having gathered courage, also enters the battle, using a laser rifle and throwing grenades. Arnold uses his skills of disguise and reincarnation to infiltrate behind enemy lines and organize sabotage, causing confusion and chaos in their ranks. During a fierce firefight, Nancy is wounded. Xander, worried about her, rushes to her aid and gives her first aid. Nancy looks at Xander with gratitude and admiration. After the fight, the team decides to regroup and heal their wounds. They find shelter in an abandoned bunker where they administer first aid to the wounded and discuss next steps. The team continues their journey towards Sardar's fortress, overcoming various obstacles and traps set by the enemy. They encounter minefields, laser turrets, and patrols of enemy soldiers. Thanks to their coordinated work and their unique skills, they successfully pass all the tests. Arnold uses his mastery of disguise to infiltrate Sardar's fortress to scout the situation and gather information about enemy forces and fortifications. He witnesses the atrocities committed by Sardar's soldiers on Zardosh prisoners. He sees the vast halls filled with weapons and equipment, and learns of Sardar's plans for the total destruction of the planet. Returning to the crew, Arnold relays the information he has gathered to Xander. The captain revises the assault plan, taking into account the data received. They prepare for the final battle. The day of the assault on Sardar's fortress arrives. Nemesis team attacks the fortress from different directions, diverting the enemy's attention and sowing panic. Kwame, on his speeder, breaks through the defenses and strikes at key sites in the fortress. Teft makes his way into the fortress with a fierce shout, crushing enemies with his sword and clearing the way for his comrades. San Jose provides cover, shooting enemy soldiers and destroying laser turrets. Nancy, having gained experience and confidence, bravely fights alongside the others, using a laser rifle and grenades. Arnold, using his disguise skills, infiltrates the control center of the fortress and sabotages the defense systems by disabling the alarms and blocking the doors. Xander, at the head of the assault team, infiltrates the main hall of the fortress, where Sardar is waiting for him. The final duel between Xander and Sardar begins. They fight on lightsabers, showing incredible skill and strength. The fight is fierce and intense. Xander is wounded, but continues to fight without giving up. Gathering his last strength, Xander delivers a fatal blow to Sardar. Sardar falls dead. With the death of the leader of the invaders, the defense of the fortress collapses. Sardar's soldiers, left without command, flee in panic, abandoning their weapons. The inhabitants of Zardosh, seeing the fall of Sardar, rise up in a general uprising and expel the invaders from their planet. Zardosh is liberated. The people of Zardosh thank Xander and his crew for their rescue and hail them as heroes. They organize festive processions and celebrations to honor the liberation. Nancy realizes that her dream of doing heroic things has come true. She looks at Xander with love and admiration. Team Nemesis leaves Zardosh for new adventures, ready to protect the weak and fight for justice. Xander realizes he has found his calling in the fight for peace and freedom. Nemesis flies off into the infinity of space, leaving behind a liberated planet and hope for a bright future. Xander stands at the window and looks out at the departing planet. He thinks about the fact that there are still many oppressed worlds in the galaxy that need help. He is ready for new challenges and new victories.